Hi guys, Nicholas here from the Southern Islands, and it's been a while since I've done this, to be honest. An interview with a champion, Bryan Quah! I don't know, only clapping here lah, but happy for you, sir. Happy for you, sir. Sir, happy for you, sir.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I felt that, you know, if one of our own finally takes the big crown, I knew that was when I was gonna
have to whip out your camera again.
Yeah, and come to your house.
Come to my house again.
Yeah.
To do this
it's
again.
It's so easy to come to your house today.
That's super easy, what? Just one bus, then you take walk over, then take train, then walk again. Super easy, what?
Anyway, congratulations once again, Mr.
Bryan
Quah.
Appreciate
for winning the whole regional league. You've done it with SuperTina yet again. Except between your first regional finalist, that was a pre-rotation Tina, and now we're going to a post-rotation Tina. But before we talk about your deck, maybe you can just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, like how you started Pokemon.
So, Pokemon TCG?
Yeah.
So Pokemon TCG, I think, in terms of competitive play, probably started during the Evolving Skies period. I think it's post-COVID, you know, I was like, oh, I feel like doing something newish, with a bit of nostalgia, because I think that's when like we couldn't travel and things like that, right?
Correct, yeah.
So we went down and we stumbled upon like card shops. I think that was like immediately after like my wedding, actually.
What?
Yeah. So we were staying somewhere during our honeymoon.
Yeah.
Not honeymoon, but like the wedding hotel kind of thing, right? Yeah. And then we went to Bugis, and then I was like, hey, shit, Pokemon booster pack, I haven't bought these like freaking forever, right? It's like, let's just go and buy a few up. After that, it's like, hey, there's a new set coming out. Hey, it's an EV set. Buy a box lah. Buy a box. And it's like, hey, now I've got all these cards. Maybe I should start playing again. So then it's like, but I don't know where to find, where to start, right?
Yeah.
So I went to look around, I found this Facebook group, and then I started buying cards from there, and then a random stranger just broke down my door and taught me how to play the game.
Wow, oh god. Invite stranger to go to your house, man.
I didn't invite, he just barged in.
Yeah, I got the chats. But before that, you said you played before, right? Like when you were younger?
Yeah. So I played before when I was younger, but it's very much like just casually playing with some friends, you know, family and things like that.
Oh, touch shoulder as well that time.
Sorry?
Touch shoulder that time.
That's touching shoulder
hey.
I'm talking about.
So after you started competitive play, right? Then do you remember like your early decks?
Yeah, so I think the journey started with like Ice Rider Calyrex, and then transitioned over to Mew. Had some success with Mew. I think we played like an online tournament together.
Oh, we did?
We played an online tournament together where you got first. You know, you're the champion of the ESL Asia Battle Fest.
What's that?
Tournament. And I think it was like third somehow. I managed to bubble into third with the same deck. So that was really fun as well. I think that was the first kind of success I had with any kind of deck.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it actually. And then I kind of just like played Vicalock for a long time. Enjoyed the deck a lot. I still miss the deck. Best card ever, item locks.
Then suddenly, I think it was that regional where you finished finalist. That I think just before then you started playing more Lost Box. Then shifted towards Tina, like Lost Box Tina.
So no, actually that was a bit of a weird time because I think. For Nats actually last year, right? You were like, dude, why don't you just try this list? It's a very strong list. It was a Lost Box Kyogre list, but it was a vanilla list, right? So all we did was like I think 5 water energies and 6 psychic, right? And we just played from there. So that was actually kind of like my gateway drug into the Lost Box ecosystem, I guess you could say. And from there I was like, hey, actually, okay, so maybe it's not as intimidating, and that actually helped a lot of kind of like basic skill sets such as like resource management, planning how to plot your damage correctly and things like that, right? And from there, then I was like, okay, so what are the more mainstream Lost Box decks, right? Which have like, you know, instead of like 4 or 5 different colored energies, you just play 3, right? Then it looked like, and Tina at that point in time was very, very strong as well, going to Worlds 2023.
Yeah.
So that deck, I started dabbling a little bit into Lost Tina, and found that I was actually pretty comfortable with Lost Tina actually. And I was playing that at all the side events at Worlds as well. So I was playing that, and I was also playing Rapid Strike Urshifu. So those are the kind of 2 decks that I was dabbling in between formats, or in between seasons, I guess you could say. And then coming into 2023-2024 season, that's when I dabbled a little bit more with Urshifu, Lost Tina, as well as Lugia. You know, so playing with these three very, very meta decks, and was like, hey, look, especially because Vikavolt rotated, right? I had no choice but to play meta, or rather, there wasn't any kind of like rogue decks that really interested me. So having, you know, being kind of shoehorned into playing the 3 decks, and I was playing the 3 decks, I believe, for the start of the season's town leagues. Right. Had some success with Repertoire Urshifu, and then the second town league I had success with Lugia. So I was like, okay, what should I bring for regionals, right? And after having discussion with you know, the playtesting boys as well as the GGG guys, you know, I think Yong, Xavier, Jeremy was saying, dude, just play Lost Tina. You know, it's a good deck. It's a good deck. You may have some pretty interesting techs that you've already you kind of cooked up. You probably endorsed it yourself, endorsed it as well. I think you stand a good chance. So brought it in, and lo and behold, finalist was a very big surprise for me.
Not a surprise for me though, because I already knew from the very beginning that this guy was going to go to Hawaii from the season start. Actually, I predicted it.
I didn't expect it myself.
Look at that! Hey, two plug there already, yeah. Quite nice,
incredible. Huh? It's honestly incredible, and I really didn't expect that.
Okay, I'm very curious. Coming from a newbie standpoint, right, or someone who's like dabbled a little bit in Lost Box before, what are the key differences I would ask between your regional finalist list, so pre-rotation, and post-rotation now the current Lost Box? Because I know because people were saying a lot of key cards were missing. No, Lost Box is lost of its power. But I think SuperTina has emerged, so could you tell us a little bit more?
So, I think the key things about my pre-rotation list, right, was that I was playing Lost Tina, but I made room for cross switchers, and I also made room for Forest Sealstone and Lost Vacuum. Right. So what this enabled to me to do was basically I could almost instant win the mirrors as long as I managed to get my cross switchers. Because a lot of people don't expect Chorus and then a Gust option, because quite often during Regionals Volume 1, it was a mixture of turn 2 cross switcher, a Chorus cross switcher, Mirage Gate. Right, and by then, if you started first, you're hitting Lost Impact into their Soul Giratina, which often causes them to fall way behind because they don't expect such an early Gust into knockout of the solo Tina option. So post rotation, the cross switches of course have rotated out. But this time around we actually kept the Lost Vacuum as well as the Forest Sealstone to increase the odds of consistency of landing the cards that you want. But we've also added in the Lightning package, right? So what we call the Lightning, what is included in the Lightning package is 2 electric energies, 1 Iron Hands, and 1 Raikou V, right? In addition to that, post rotation, Tina lost Path to the Peak. Right, it was probably one of the only mainstream decks that could operate under Path, and losing Path really hurts it. In fact, post rotation, I actually didn't touch Tina. Right, if you notice, I was playing a lot of the more mainstream decks, such as like your Charizards, your Lugias, because I personally believe that Tina just wasn't like. Tina lost a lot of its stalling power. Right, because Tina was able to catch up, or was able to overwhelm the opponent because it had Path to the Peak active, and it didn't allow the opponent to do what they wanted to do. But at the end of the day, what actually surprised me the most is that Tina was able to operate without Path. Right. In fact, I think another two things that we added into the deck that the deck didn't have before was Artisan, as well as Beach Court, right, as the stadiums of choice. And surprisingly, Tina was just able to accelerate ahead, right? So I think oftentimes during the match I was playing like 3 comfies or 2 comfies, and was just aggressively doing flower selectings as fast as I could, because ultimately the deck, even without Path to the Peak, is able to hit 7 in turn 2. Sometimes even 10 in turn 2, with the Lost Vacuum, with triple comfy, with Forest Sealstone as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of the key difference.
So you mentioned about that Lightning Pack package, right? I think it's a very, very unique package to put inside the Lost Box. I think I see a lot of other some Lost Box decks really trying to put like Iron Hands, but Raikou V is a bit. I think I don't really hear Raikou V in a Tina package. Could you maybe like walk through like how did this like idea come about? Because you mentioned in the vlog, you should watch the vlog before you watch this, guys. You mentioned in the vlog that Javad and Coach Clifton had like some input into like this idea.
No, I mean, they didn't just have any input. They literally gifted me the deck list. Right? They were literally like, Bryan, take this. Like, you know, like it's so strong. So I remember Gerard being like, dude, Tina is strong. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this deck is really good. I'm like, really? Like, you sharing with me the list? Share me the list, and I was like, isn't that like, dude, isn't that just looks like Bricktown? Right? Because it's like, you've got freaking Iron Hands, you've got 4 different types of energies that you have to manage. Like, how does this deck even how's it functioning? Right? Don't you just draw dead all half the time? Because you're playing 15 energies. That's 25% of your deck.
Yep.
Right? So I'm like, did you just die? And he's like, no, like you should try it out. And of course, because Gerard is also getting coaching from Clifton, right? So both of us get coaching from Cliff. And we asked him, and I asked him, I was like, dude, what's this deck? Does it work? And Clifton was like, I see Gerard has shared with you the list. It's good, you should try it out. Alright, that was what I was told, and I was like, okay, let's try it out. Built the deck online, tested it out myself, and I was like, okay, it's feeling pretty smooth for some reason, right? But also I think it's just the inbuilt Lost engine that it has, right?
Okay.
That way you can pick and choose what you need, right? So I think the way that that the SuperTina was kind of structured is that it has answers to every matchup in the meta right now, right? Previously, without the Lightning package, SuperTina or Lost Tina had difficulties dealing with stuff like your Birdzart, had difficulties dealing with stuff like your Lugias as well. Right? What do the two decks have in common?
Single play.
Lightning weakness.
Yeah, correct. I mean, Lugia with lightning, Pidgeot is with lightning,
Right? So it gives, the Raikou is a very cheap attacker causing 2 energies only, right? So that's 1 Mirage Gate into their Pidgeot EXs or their Lugia V-Stars. Right? And most of the time, these 2 decks want to fill the bench. So you're almost always consistently hitting for 220. And the other thing about Raikou V is that 220 is a beautiful number in the format right now. Right? You're hitting, you're one-shotting Iron Crowns, which also floods your bench. You're one-shotting Qianbao, also flooding your bench. Right? You're one-shotting 220 is just a really, really good number to hit. Yes, now some Pokemon have 230 HP. You're also one-shotting opposing Tina Vs. Alright, so Raikou was a really, really cheap answer to, I think, a lot of these attackers in the format right now. So huge shout out. I think this was definitely Cliff's original idea or first fix for the deck. And it really worked. I really used Raikou quite a bit.
How about Iron Hands? I assume single prices, right?
So what Iron Hands enables you to do is that it enables you to continue with the 2-2 price trade. Right? For example, Zard. Iron Hands is really, really useful in the Zard matchup because typically Zard likes to deny you a 2-2 price trade by starting to put a single prize board state at the end of the game. Right? So when, for example, if I'm playing against the Zard, once I hit 3 prizes, the Zard's going to try to 2-roll the Zard or the Pidgeot, right, and then attack with Radiant Zard, right. So the thing is that Radiant Zard has that cooldown timer attached to this attack. So once it knocks out, let's say, a Cramorant or a Sableye, if I just sprinkle damage onto that Radiant Zard with the Cram or Sableye, I can then finish it off with Iron Hands to maintain the 2-2 price rate.
Okay. Another curious addition is the Iron Leaves. I assume that's for Zard, or did it come up in your tournament?
So Iron Leaves, I think is a natural inclusion to Lost Tina. If you look at the lists from EUIC, any Lost Tina deck played Iron Leaves. And it makes sense, right? Because the deck naturally plays Grass Energy, and Iron Leaves has a beautiful, I think, Rapid Veneer ability where you put it in the bench, it gusts up itself to activate, and then you can charge any kind of energy you want to the Iron Leaves. Iron Leaves was a very useful attacker, definitely for Zard. It allows you to take the one-shot knockout on the Zard, even with a Hero's Cape on it as well. But it was also a useful attacker against Ancient Box. Right, Ancient Box and the Roy Moon box as well. Because the thing is that Roy Moon, the baby one, and the EX are both weak to Grass. Right, so even with the Ancient Booster capsule attached to it, you are able to take the one-shot with the Iron Leaves.
And I assume tank the hit an early turn avoiding rune that can't like deal enough damage to knock out on.
I mean, ideally you don't put it that early, because the thing is that you're gonna have trouble maintaining your resources if you were to use early Iron Leaves, and yeah, it also has a cooldown on its attack, so you have to figure out how you're gonna switch it out, if you're gonna play the beach court, if you're gonna retreat using a regular energy, yeah.
You talked a little bit about your journey to the finals with Mickey on the vlog.
Yeah.
But maybe since the floor is yours here, you got all the time in the world, can you maybe talk us through your day 1, day 2 of regionally voluntary?
Sure. So day one we had 8 rounds, right? So I had the first one bye, thankfully, because I won the Town League and Mana Pro. So with that bye, I could kind of calm my nerves, because I was super nervous in day 1.
Yeah, I think a lot of us saw that.
But game 2, I sat down and I started from like a table 4, and I was like, shit, why am I here?
Yeah, absolutely.
But then when my opponent flipped it up, I was like, oh, alright, this is not too bad. I was facing Steelix. Steelix Dodrio. Huh? Yeah, so like the whole plan of the deck is that you use you evolve your Onyx into a Steelix, 1 energy attachment, you do Earthquake 130 damage, and you do, I think it's 130? Yeah, 130 damage, and you do 30 damage to your bench Pokemon. Okay. The beautiful thing is that when you pair it with Dodrio, Dodrio has the attack, every damage counter is like times 30 or something like that. Oh, okay. So you're smacking really, really hard with Dodrio, right? With the damage that you've accumulated from Steelix, and also you have the draw engine from the Dodrio. By damaging itself, you draw I think 1 or 2 cards.
Okay.
So yeah, he was. I think it's a theoretically strong deck, but what he didn't expect was a turn 2 10 Sable Ice spread kill everything on the board.
Oh right, because he already put damage count.
Yeah, put damage count. He already damaged himself, and he didn't match the Jirachi early enough.
Oh, okay.
So he just killed himself basically.
Okay.
And then it's like, oh yeah, 3 prices, thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was a little bit unfortunate for him, but he was. I think he was there for the promo. He enjoyed himself, and I also had a great conversation with him as well. So third matchup, third game was against Arctina. A funny freaking story. Sat down and realized that the guy was my army sergeant.
Huh? Huh?
Yeah. So he was like, oh, I was like, oh my gosh, what in the world?
What a small world, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the funny thing is that he said he saw me casting Nats with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then he was like, he wasn't sure if it was like the same Bryan. Then like this time around when we met at regionals, he was like, yeah, no, it's the same Bryan. So it was really nice. It was really nice to catch up with him. He's actually a pretty good player. He says he only plays on live, but he's been playing since Sun and Moon.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to try to get him to get into the physical game.
Yeah.
Because he's actually pretty good. His sequencing and all that was really, really good. He was piloting Arctina, which was theoretically even matchup for me, 50-50. Especially because he plays Radiant Gardevoir as well.
Oh, alright.
At the end of the day, the game went to time, but we managed to resolve it, and he agreed that the game was mine.
Okay.
Yeah. Game 4 and Game 5 were both with future hands. So turbo hands. So they're going really, really fast.
Favorite decks.
But thankfully, Cliff actually provided the way to break down the deck.
Yeah.
And I was really prepared for that. So both games, I managed to have my Tina ready. I was, I had 1 vacuum in the hand. I had lost Star Vacuum for the other. So at no point in time were they able to combo their hands together because their heavy batons were gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was key, because once you stop that, the engine stops.
The engine stops. Yeah, exactly. So I managed to beat that straight up with the strategy that Cliff provided.
Okay.
Game 6 was Goldango. I was up against Jackson, and I played against him.
Player.
Yeah, I was playing against him at the Agora Town League.
Okay.
And it was kind of funny. It's like a twist of fate, because what happened is that during the Agora Town League, I bricked really badly. I played the Spiritomb Attach Twice Pass. This time he started with Gimme Ghoul Attach Energy Pass.
Ooh. Oof.
But I wasn't able. Sorry, he started second, so then he attached energy to use Call for Family.
Okay. So
but he called down Greninja, but it was kind of a beatdown game because he wasn't able to set up at all, and I was able to gust out every single one of his Gimme Ghouls.
Oh, that's okay.
So it was a bit rough for him. But props out, I think he really tried to play the game out as much as possible. He played the Cypher Maniacs as well.
Okay.
He tried to get Buddy Puff in, but at that point in time it was a bit too late because it was already country I had 10. So he benched the Gimme-Go, and he was playing all the 50 HP Gimme-Gos.
Oh, that's not enough to...
Yeah, he wasn't playing the 70 HP Gimme-Go, so when he benched the Gimme-Go and he benched a Mana Fee, it was perfect 120 HP, right?
Yeah.
So at that point in the game, he decided there's no point in continuing.
Yeah.
He had a Palkia as well, but the Palkia, if I'm not wrong, I think got taken out by my Raikou.
Oh, with the lightning again?
With the lightning, yeah. So at that point in time, I think he just scooped after that.
Okay.
Then game 7, so game 7 was funny. So at this point in time, we were 6-0, right? And there were only, I think, 5 of us that were 6-0 at that point.
Okay.
Out of the 5 decks, we knew that the 4 of us were playing some sort of Tina variant. So there's one lost Super Tina, there's one lost Tina, and the 2 Arc Tinas. Okay. Right. So then we was like, who's this 5th guy? Because it was a waitlist number, right?
Yeah.
Turns out the 5th player was a Lugia.
Oh.
Okay. And somehow or other I could have matched up any of the other Tinas, but no, I matched up with the Lugia.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So then I looked at the Tina players and then I was like, I matched up with the Lugia and I had the answers to the Lugia.
Correct.
Y'all lucky. But yeah, so Lugia, he also kind of bricked a bit. Yeah. Kind of bricked a bit, and he was not expecting the Raikou because I think I started. He started first. Yeah. He had no Archeops in the discard pile. Ooh. Yeah, that's a bit oof, right? And then I went second. You know. Sorry. I started first. Yeah. When I started first, I benched the Raikou.
Oh my god, scared him already.
I attached lightning energy.
Scared him.
And then I passed, and then he was like,
okay.
Huh? Right. Then he could, but during his first turn, he wasn't able to discard a single Archeops. Yep. And second turn, I manually attached another energy to the Raikou, prime captured the Lugia, smashed the Lugia. But he had a backup Lugia, but well, it was too little, too late. Yeah,
because he take 2 prizes very early.
Took 2 prizes super early. He managed to evolve his Minchino into Chinchino. Then he special rolled for 140.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate for him. But he made it to day 2, so that's all that matters. And for the last game, I met Future Hands. Yeah. Played against Xavier. I bricked. So yeah.
Okay. Then we move on to day 2.
Day 2.
Yes.
So day 2, my top 16 opponent was Ray. Yeah. He was piloting Charizard, but I think due to family commitment he dropped out. So I had to buy basically during my top 16. And then during top 8 I played against Xavier. Stars aligned the game once again. We're back. It was a really close match actually. So we played all 3 rounds. Yeah. We went to time. But at the end of it, he was. I actually really like his variation of Future Box. He wasn't playing the Turbo variant. Okay. He was playing the variant with leaves.
Oh, okay.
With Iron Leaves, right? So, and the Iron Leaves with 4 Iron Crowns.
Oh, it does a lot of damage.
Does so much damage. Yeah. He does like what, 180 plus 4. Yeah. That's 260. Yeah. Right. So with the Future Booster Cap, so that's 280. I was like, holy crap! He's actually like one-shotting my Tina V stars, right? So first game I didn't have too hot a start. He won. Second game I managed to claw back the victory. Okay. And then for the third game we went to time, and it was like his last turn. He had 4 Iron Crowns. Ooh. He had 1 Iron Leaves. Sorry, he had 3 Iron Crowns. He had 1 Iron Leaves with the Future Booster Capsule, but he whiffed the last Iron Crown. Yeah, so he unfortunately wasn't able to get the last knockout on the Martina V-Star. So in that case, the game was mine. Okay,
so before we go into the top 4 match, which Future Box do you prefer? The one with the gun, without the gun?
If I were to play it, I don't know, man. I feel like the one without the gun is a little bit more skill based, because it forces you to attack with Miraidon, the baby Miraidon, in order to charge up your bench Pokemon, and then from there take the knockouts either with your Iron Leaves or your hands, depending on what matchup you're currently looking at. Yeah. And I think it's a bit harder to pilot that deck as well. So, and that deck has, I feel, a bit more answers to everything. Right? Whereas if you're playing the Turbo variant, right, you're a bit dependent on whether you're hitting your guns. Whether you're hitting your guns, if the opponent plays Lost Vacuum, because if they play Lost Vacuum, it's really, really hard to come back from that, right? So I think I prefer the Lee's variant, the one that Xavier played.
Oh, okay. Probably I'm gonna go and ask Xavier for his list after this. Let's go into top 4. So I think top 4 is where the tension really building.
Yeah, the top 4. So top 4, my match up was against Winsoon. Played against his Ancient Box with Grunt.
Oh, the one that can allow you to discard because to take back what's it? Oh no, you put the add damage, right? For fighting type Pokemon.
So Grunt has 2 effects.
Yeah.
The first effect is that when you play it, add 30 damage to your next fighting type Pokemon's attack.
Yeah.
Right? But the second ability is that if this card's in your discard pile, you may discard 2 cards from your hand to take it back into your hand. But what you can do is you can loop it. So you can do that effect once per turn.
Yeah.
Right? But what you can do is you can loop it, right? So you have Grunt in your discard pile, you discard it with Ultra Ball, for example.
Correct.
Next turn, you discard 2, right? Preferably 2 ancient Pokemon, or 2 ancient type cards. You take back the Grunt from your hand and discard it with Ultra Ball.
Okay.
Right? So then next turn, you can discard again. You can do it again. Another one, right?
Yeah.
And so you constantly get it. You're accelerating your ancient discard pile, and which is then in turn accelerating the damage that your Roaring Moons can do.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first match was super close, man. Because we were like, I think we played the first game in 45 minutes.
Got the whole time already.
It was like 40-minute game, so it was not 45 minutes. It was like 40 minutes because he was not able to accelerate super fast, but he still managed to put on quite a bit of pressure on me. And I also didn't have a super hot start either, so I think I whiffed like 1 or 2 attacks at the start. But eventually I managed to initiate the prize trade by doing Green Ninja. I managed to set up damage by using Green Ninja. Okay. To set up 290 damages on the 2 Roaring Moons, and then from there take a 2 prize from the Roaring Moon with Iron Hands.
Okay.
Right, so, as I mentioned earlier, the game was pretty slow to start. So by the time I managed to take a hit with the Iron Hands, he's already had enough enough in his ancient discard pile to take the return knockout using his other damage hands, right? But thankfully, I managed to navigate the situation where I was able to kind of boss stall and then kill the set up more damage with Sableye, and from there it really went down to like 1-1, you know, so it was super close. Yeah, we played the match out super long, but at the end of the day I think he made a slight mistake where he ran out of energy. Yeah, when he ran out of energy, so his Roaring Moon had a fighting energy attached to it.
Which is no meaning to it, because he 2 dice and need to attack.
Correct. So at the end he kind of just scooped and he was like, okay, let's go to the next one. But the next one was just very unfortunate for him. He was not able to play the game because he just bricked really hard. He had a flutter main, and I made a stupid mistake.
Setting the copy.
Not the copy, the Cramorant!
I can't spit.
You know what I learned from that match though? I learned that if you announce an attack, right, that cannot be fulfilled, right, and if your Pokemon does not have another attack, your turn ends.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's something I learned. That's something I learned.
So you will reach a phase that's not really set in the rulebook called an attack step phase the moment you announce an attack. So if you announce the wrong attack, you can try and announce another attack. But if you can't use that attack, then that's it. You can't go back.
Yeah.
It's the same with selecting targets as well. Once you select the target, you just can't unless your opponent allows you to take back, you can't change your target. Correct.
So but I managed to take prizes early on by using Tina V to just shred. Okay. So I was just shredding away whatever Roaring Moons that he was benching. I was also able to use Iron Leaves to take a knockout as well on Moon with a capsule as well. So I just didn't let any of his moons survive. And after a while, time ran out, and he graciously lost.
Okay, now we go to the finals.
The finals match. Oh my god! Finals.
I thought it was a very high tension match.
It was because it was a full 3 games yet again, or rather 2 games, and then we went to time, right? Okay. So my opponent was Wei Ye. He was playing Bibzart, his own I think homebrewed Bibzart variant without Scorvet.
Without Scorvet, okay.
Yeah, he played without Scorvet. And he at the game 1 he kind of didn't have too great of a start, and I was able to kind of boss out whatever Charmander he was sending out. But he kept playing on. Which I think was actually a flaw on his part, because he bricked really hard. So at one point in time, he was just like with 1 Bibarel, 1 Radiant Zard, but he still insisted on playing, right? And that's fine. But I think tips to anyone who's playing a best of 3, if you're in that kind of situation and you know that there's no way for you to come back because every single one of your Charmanders are dead or dying, right? Just scoop and go to the next game.
Yeah.
Because that costs him precious time.
Yeah.
Right? So the first game was done in about 18 minutes. Then we went to the next one.
Yeah.
Which I think I made a bit of a mistake, so I lost the second game. But by the time I lost the second game, it was already time call.
Oh, okay.
Right, so we went into game 3 in a sudden death.
So first person to take prize win.
First person to take prize win. But because I lost that second game,
you can choose.
I could choose who goes first, right? So in the end, so of course I chose to go first.
Yeah.
Because I know by turn 2 I should be able to get. I should be able to initiate the attack with the Cramorant.
Yeah, and Charizard can't attack on turn 1.
And Charizard can't attack on turn 1, right? Yeah. So in that kind of situation, I'm oh my god, my first hand was horrible. My first hand, I looked at it, it was 2 Mirage Gates, 1 energy card, 1 Jet Energy, something else, and I got Manaphy.
Wow. Top Manaphy, yeah.
Top Manaphy, yeah. Right, and I was like, I am screwed.
Do you feel at that point that you're going to be finalist again?
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, like, why does this happen? It's like my deck hasn't bricked the entire weekend.
And then chooses to do it now.
And then chooses to do it now, like shitting bricks at this point, right? But of course, you know, like I have to play cool, I have to maintain a calm exposure.
Correct.
And then I top deck Greninja.
Whoa.
So like
top deck king.
Oh sorry, the last card in my hand was Forest Sealstone.
Ah, okay, okay.
Okay, so I top deck Greninja and I'm like, top deck! I plays under Greninja and then I concealed cards and then I managed to find like I think I got like did I get Buddy Puffin? I think I got Nest Ball. No, not Nest Ball, I think I got a Buddy Puffin.
Yeah.
So Buddy Puffin, Comfey. You know, 1 Comfey. I can't remember my exact hand, but basically I had I think 1 Comfey on the board, 1 Manaphy, 1 Greninja. Managed to get my Comfey out, Flower Select, concealed cards, and then I just started drawing everything I needed. I drew into an Artisan, I drew into Artisan, and then I had a Chorus as well, and I was like, okay, now we're starting to get there, and then I passed with 1 in my lost zone.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, 1 in my lost zone is not too bad, I got the Chorus too, and then the 4th lost zone is going to be from the Comfey, right? I got to plan out how, and then, because I searched out for the Comfey, the first thing I did was find the stupid Cramorant. I found the Cramorant, put it at the top, and I showed it in the stream. I was like, I got the Cramorant! It's like, I got the Cramorant! And you with the
card that you were considering to take out.
No, I wasn't considering to take out Cramorant, but I was considering to take out Artisan. And Artisan was in my hand.
You see, the Artisan would have.
If I didn't have Artisan,
you would have won the game. You would have won. You would have won Mission. No, thanks to Artisan.
That's the golden Artisan. Holy crap, man! So at this point, I was like, okay, I have everything, and I found the Prime Catcher as well. So I was like, okay, all I need from the stupid Chorus or Flower Selecting or concealed cards is a V Pokemon or a Nest Ball. I started thinking, okay, so I've got a Raikou V, I've got 3 Tina Vs, 4, and then I played 4 Nest Balls, so there's 8. You know, I have pretty good odds, right? Chorus, first card is a Nest Ball. First card is a Nest Ball, so then I was like, okay. When Wei played his turn, he actually very smartly found a Luminion using an Ultra Ball. He benched the Luminion, 10 attacks from Charmander and retreated to Charmander.
Yeah, that's the way, correct. To send the big 2 prize out the wall.
To tank it, right? The wall there, right? But thankfully, because I had Prime Catcher in my deck, Forest Sealstone Prime Catcher game. And I remember like when I did that, I was like, oh my god, I finally redeemed myself, right? I didn't mess up. I didn't mess up. So that win was significant for me because I think I didn't. Going into regionals, I wasn't aiming for first. The goal was just to get top 4. Right. The goal was just to get top 4 because for me, my mindset wasn't to win the whole thing. My mindset was to get enough for me to get to Hawaii. Secure my Hawaii trip, right? And top 4 would have been able to do that already. So
even above and beyond that.
And I'm extremely proud of myself, and also extremely grateful for the support I've received from everyone as well.
So now, 99% chance, barring any weird circumstances during nationals,
very
likely to go to Worlds.
Well, look, either ways I'm going to Worlds is whether I'm going to Worlds as a competitor or as a spectator.
No, as a competitor. That's the most important part. You already did that whole, I know, spectator thing last year, so I think this year should be different.
Yeah, this year, I mean, barring, as you said, anything unusual, the Worlds invite should be there.
So in the weeks leading up to Regional Volume 3, you were preparing very, very hard, I would say. I've never gotten a message from Bryan Quah to come over to his house to play cards so many times. And then he just took through my phone message. Wow, this guy free to come, free to come, free to come. When you free to come? When you free to come?
Actually, no, you were pushing me what? Like, hey, I'm free.
True also lah. I just wanted to prepare to be honest. But really, like, I think every other day you had someone over. If it's not someone over coming to play, your coach was here.
Every day. Yeah. It was every day. Every day for the past 2 weeks.
That's insane. That is really insane. I also noticed that playtesting with you like every few days or so, right? Like, you know, cards were changing. Like at first you were deciding on this deck, like you mentioned, playing Zard. Then you went to Tina. Then with Tina itself, you were like, oh, let's try this and let's try that. You know, this card in, this card out. I think maybe you can let the viewers know how did the preparation process go, step by step, and like how Coach Clifton kind of like helped along the way.
Okay, that's a really big question. Let me try to dismantle that. Okay, so I think the first question is
how did you prepare?
How did I prepare for regionals this year?
Yeah.
This time around, right? So going into regionals, or rather even at the end of the previous regionals, right? I knew that I wasn't super happy with 33rd place.
Yeah.
Stupid Ruben for freaking rubbing it into my face. Song. But yes, no, because Ruben was rubbing it in my face constantly. That was 30 seconds. I was like, no, shit needs to change. Right? So I think from that point in time as well, I reached out to Clifton and I was like, hey mate, was hoping like to get some coaching. I knew regionals was gonna be very important because my standings was already pretty good even after regionals volume 2.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I really want to gun for Worlds this year, because especially after the first volume 1 doing so well, and it would be a wasted opportunity if I don't go to Worlds this year, right? So I hunkered down and we started planning, started to formulate a game plan for me. And because I managed to reach out to Clifton early enough, we figured we had 1.5–2 months to work with each other before actually going to regional. Oh,
okay, it was that far ahead.
It was actually that far ahead, yeah. So we sat down for a plan and we started looking at decks, because I think after that tournament, Fukuoka happened.
Correct. So post-rotation
already happened in Japan, so that we were able to look and kind of follow whatever meta was happening over there in Japan. So I'm still fairly new, I think, as a Pokemon player in comparison to some of you guys, some of the veterans that have been traveling and playing Pokemon for a very, very long time, right? So I knew that I didn't really have the foundations that you guys had. So that was the first step of practice, right? Building up my foundations, building up my base. So that was something that Clifton was working with me through matchups.
Okay.
Right. So he gave me the deck that he believed was able to build my foundations, which was Bibzard. Right. So Bibzard, with Bibzard, it allowed me to show it. It trained me in terms of sequencing, because Bibzard is very sequencing intensive, right? Do you Cypher Mania first? Do you draw using Bibarel first? Do you Squirvet first? Do you play Iono? So sequencing wise, that helped a lot. Right? So it helped me, it trained my processes into thinking which cards I should be using first and which kind of sequence.
Okay.
Secondly, it trained me in prize trading. Right? So it trained a trained a mentality of being able to kind of manage my prizes as well as manage my opponent's prizes. So how do I take the 6 prizes? How to prevent my opponent from taking the 6 prizes? So that kind of preparation all was kind of done with Clifton. And then after a while, after Clifton kind of felt like he built my foundations enough, and then we discovered the SuperTina deck. And then from there, we played literally SuperTina versus every single meta deck in format. Your Lugia, your Lost Box, your Ancient Box, your Future Box, your Zard, your Bibzard, so your Buzzard, your Bibzard, and then EOIC happens, so your Todzard, your Future Box, your Champals. So Cliff really broke down every single meta deck that he could within that time frame, and then from there we just play. We just play every single day, right? Not with Clifton, but it was I think we had trade coaching with Clifton once a week. In between Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Yep.
Then come the Town League season, we did I think twice a week.
Yeah, because there was that one Town League in Singapore, we had like 3 Town Leagues in the world.
Correct. So during Town League season, it was twice a week.
Yeah.
Then we went back to once a week, and then 2 weeks before regionals, we went back to twice a week. So coaching with Clifton really helped me build my foundations up to where it is now. And also it helped me prepare for a lot of the matchups that we were facing, or we were planning on facing. And then in terms of, so that's the answer to how do I prep.
Yeah.
Then I think the second question was about, you noticed that I was making small changes to my decks, right?
Correct.
How do I decide what card stays, what card goes? How do I decide my 60,
Yeah.
my final 60? So, thankfully, I have a good support group, right? So it wasn't just me kind of testing the deck. Over on the other side of the world in UIC, Gerard was also playing the same deck, right? So Gerard felt very comfortable with the 60 that he brought in, and we were kind of sharing. We were trading notes, right? He was sharing with me how he felt, what's the break rate of the deck, what did he feel we could drop. But so after I think testing it with you as well, we finally decided that this 60 works. But I think the question then becomes, how do I choose which card stays, which card goes? It depends on how often I use it, as well as how often, how important is the need for it.
Okay.
So at one point in time, I think we thought that heavy ball was really important because we were playing a lot of one-off Pokemon.
Yeah, I remember,
Right? But at the end of the day, we figured, hey look, you're able to navigate all your matchups even without this matchup-specific Pokemon. Right? So then, okay, we dropped heavy ball. Then I think I came up with the crazy idea of including Devo. Right? Thankfully I didn't, because none of the decks I played during
didn't need it all.
Pokemon, right? Except for Zod.
At the very end.
Yeah, right at the end, right? So then we realized, okay, you don't really need Devo in all the matchups. You only need the Zod and Chimpao. Right? But even then, you already have a solid game plan, so you don't really need that cheese method of the Devo. Okay, so we removed Devo. Iono versus Roxanne. We figured, okay, Roxanne is really good for late game, but Iono you can use anytime. Right? So we tested with a deck that had 59 cards, and then the one card was either Iono or Roxanne. Right? And then we figured, hey look, I was actually using Iono more often than I was using Roxanne. So that's how we chose. So I think it really is situational based, and it really depends on the card. But typically decks come to you pre-built, right, with 56, 57 cards, right? And then you have the option of the last 3 cards. And you just have to keep playing to figure out what works and what doesn't.
Okay, because I think a lot of people don't know the amount of hard work and effort I myself saw that you put in to prepare for this tournament. Like I have never prepared for a tournament that hard. Like that was really insane what you did. You know, that 2 weeks of just intense playtesting throughout.
Yeah, saying I was joking with I had a lunch with some family friends earlier, and I was joking that I felt almost like a full-time job, because it did literally every single free moment of my day was playing Pokemon, right? And thankfully I had friends like you, like friends like Cash, friends like Ray, friends like Clifton as well, who were playing with me non-stop, right? And Jose as well, Chris as well. We were just literally playing non-stop whenever we could. So huge shout out to the group as well for helping me prepare, as well as the guys, I guess the GG guys as well for constantly doing the Friday playtests over at Wayne's, or the playtest sessions at G3 itself.
You mentioned a few people that you thanked in the vlog. Again, please watch that before you watch this video. You know you're already near the end by now, but maybe you could like say it again here for people watching this video.
Huge shout out, I think, to both Gerard and Clifton. I think both of you have really supported me, through this season. And I think without both of you, I would not be playing SuperTina. I would have played probably Zod and done like probably a midding result, maybe top cut, maybe top 32. But I think I remember when I received this list, I was telling Clifton, dude, I thought you wanted me to be playing a safe deck. This feels like a winning deck. I literally said that. Because I was like, this deck has matchups to everything, but it just feels like it breaks, right? And like, for someone who wants to just get enough points to stay where I'm at, I won't need to be playing something safer, right? But no, he said, you look comfortable playing this, you're fluent in Tinanese, go and play this deck. So huge shout out to Gerard and Clifton for, I think, for believing me and believing that I'll be able to pilot this list. So really thank you guys so much for that. If not, this definitely wouldn't have come here.
Yeah.
Second of all, I also like to shout out, you know, I think I mentioned a bit earlier, Cash, yourself, Jose, Cruz, Ray, for coming over and playtesting with me every single day. Because I think without you guys, I would not have had enough practice, or I wouldn't be able to finesse my plays as much as I did in time for regionals.
Yeah.
So huge shout out to all of you. Reach out to Clifton as well. I think for being patient. I think it's a few of the nights he wanted to tear his hair out because of the shit plays I was making. I remember the night that he came over at G3, he was like, "What the frick are you doing, Brian?" I was like, alright, so thank you for sticking through and helping me out and getting me to where I'm at. Also, he wanted to shout out to the G3 boys. Love you, boss. Love you, Thomas.
Hey.
For giving me shit all the time, but also I think shepherding, as I shared on IG, shepherding this lost sheep to worlds, because I think without being introduced to the G3 community, I really would not be able to be where I'm currently at, whether it's, you know, with my basics or my play styles. But you guys are also a really good support network as well, so I really appreciate the support, whether it's in game or out of game as well, that you guys have provided me. So huge shout out to the guys over at GGG. Also like to thank my wife,
yes,
right, for supporting me. Thank you, Kimberly Lim, for supporting my dream to go to Worlds 2024. And now that we are pretty much 99% there, yeah, thanks for supporting me all the time.
Hope this video doesn't backfire, missing 89%.
But also thanks to everyone else who I think we really what really touched me this regionals is that there were quite a few people, not only within the GGG community but outside, the friends that I made through just playing town leagues, through playing regional leagues, through organizing events, through just being around the shops. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. A lot of you were very supportive, and you guys were checking me literally every round, like, hey, X0, you know, and you know, when I said yes, and then you guys were like cheering me on. So really, thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate it.
I think, could you maybe before I go into the last question, I think as a married man, right?
Yeah.
Could you probably give some advice to other married men out there who's trying to balance Pokemon TCG with a wife?
That sounds like a question for you, man.
Yeah, no, I'm asking you to give me advice. Like, because you play tested every day, you know?
Yeah, I did. No, I mean, huge shout out to Kim, because I mean, Kim, my wife, really wants to support me in my journey to Worlds, because she knows how much it means to me as well, to kind of check off this bucket list item this year. Because we never know when an opportunity like this will come again, right?
It's once in a lifetime. Not at your disposition.
Exactly. So huge shout out to my wife for letting me playtest that often. But also, I mean, it's give and take, right? So like literally, like after yesterday, I'm like, shit, okay, I got like a whole bunch of housework I need to do. So then you just started doing like the laundry and everything immediately after. You said, good. You're doing it back again. The house is like a pigsty. And my desk is like finally like clean. Dude, previously, before it came over, right, it was like cards after cards, just strewn all over the place, figuring out, okay, what card do I need to put in? Oh man, it was a mad play, it was a madhouse. But no, I mean, a supportive wife is a must, right? If she doesn't support you in your hobbies, then do you choose the right one?
Not wrong there. Beyond all the Pokemon sequencing, you know, all these competitive tournaments and all that, what do you enjoy most about, you know, being in the Pokemon TCG community?
Let me tell you.
Hey, what the this guy?
I mean, it's the friends that you make, right? As cheesy as it sounds, I mean, like, I as a person, I'm internally extroverted, right? And I'll tell this whether it's in a Pokemon scene, whether it's at work, whether it's at JITS,
random podcast interview,
right? That I love people at the core of it, right? And I always like to see the best in people, and I always like to, and I find that every person has a story, right? And whether the person wants to share it with me or not is up to them. But I like to find out the story behind the person, right? TCG is just another way to do it, right? When you have a commonality and people have common interests, when they're going for regionals, town leagues, you know, they always there's a reason for them to be there, right? And if they so would like to join the community, I've always liked to invite them in, because I think Pokemon is a great community to be in. It's a it's an IP that everyone loves, right? Or people grew up with. So I think for me, Pokemon TCG is a hobby. It's a bit of a lifestyle sometimes, but yeah, I enjoy being part of this community, and could not ask, I guess, for a better support group at G3.
I think one more last question just to wrap it up, right? How will you finish at Worlds?
Sorry?
How are you going to finish at Worlds?
0-3 drop.
Okay. That's all.
Edmund Cool 2.0, let's go!
See you guys next time. Bye bye.